Hello, everyone. My name is Reba Matthews, and I want to welcome you to the Teacher Transition Summit. And I want to thank you for coming to my workshop, which will be about how to become an educational consultant, the perfect next step for teachers. So before we begin, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and how I became a consultant. Well, my journey started, I was an elementary teacher. I had taught all the grades, but I focused mainly on grades 1, 3, and 6. And so I enjoyed just moving through those grades, and that kept me a little excited. So then I started to incorporate technology because that became the thing, and I started to embed that into my curriculum, and I seemed to be doing a pretty good job from what my peers were saying, and they were coming to my classroom trying to do the same, and I was training them. So from this training, I asked my principal, could I start facilitating training sessions with the teachers? We all were seeing the consultants that came to our school. A lot of them were so boring. A lot of us felt like, oh, we could just do a much better job than that. And we all began to start doing little training sessions. So then after that, a position became open for me to become the technology specialist. And again, I ran the computer lab more like a project research lab. My students embedded curriculum into their studies. The teachers began to embed the curriculum. And then a NASA grant came about, and I led a team to write a grant, and we won that grant, and we became a STEM magnet. And again, I mean, life was good. I was enjoying teaching. It was an adventure for me. But again, I kept seeing those consultants come in that I knew were not really satisfying the needs of the teachers at my teacher site. So then I decided to make that move. I said, okay, I know I want to do something else. I want to try to go into consulting. And so I started to prepare myself. So I started to go to every workshop that was in our district on every topic that I cared about, which was literacy, classroom management, and a little bit of science. And I did that for a while. I would come back and I would share that with my peers. Then next, I started to attend conferences. I started to attend all the conferences that I could. And I still had children at home, so I would drag my children to the Saturday conferences. And so, again, I'm still teaching and feeling a little like I need to do something else. So then I started connecting with people on social media. I started looking at other consultants. And one of the consultants that I reached out to was Beth Smith, and we'll be looking at her resume in this workshop. And I reached out to her and told her that I wanted to make that transition. And you know what? She actually shared her resume with me. Twitter. We never met each other. She shared it with me, and she even called me. She called me on the phone, and we sat there and talked about it. She told me what to do. I went to another conference. I think it was a Q conference, and another consultant was there. I think his name was Daryl Bell, and I connected with him on social media, and he contacted me and told me some things to do if I became a consultant. Talked about time management, making sure I knew I had some downtime. And so now I'm really jazzed. I think I'm ready. So I decided in 2012 to leave teaching. But what I did to bridge that, and I think all of you need to make that decision, is to think about your finances. Okay? So what I did was I became an online tutor, and I applied to be an adjunct instructor at a university online. And then another big thing I did, I moved from California to Texas. Now that I'm doing this online work, the adjunct and the tutor, I can move and still, bring in my money. So then once I got to Dallas, again, I'm still, thinking about the consulting. I'm still connecting with people online. I'm going to workshops, and I went online and I found Scholastic. I didn't even know Scholastic had consulting jobs. And when I put in my resume, and we're going to talk about, updating your resume. Because remember, I met Beth online, and she helped me update my resume, and I applied. And one part of my interview, so I'm going to let you know this too, if you apply for any of these consulting jobs, they may ask you to, once you make that you pass the first initial part, is that they want you to give a presentation on something. It may not be with every job, but it happened to be with Scholastic, which I'm now with HMH. They asked me to make a presentation on one of their products. So I went home, looked on the website, and did everything, did it on PowerPoint, came back. And the thing I want to tell you that you need to do that you're already doing is to stand before people, be yourself, and let them know what you know and engage with your audience. So I did that. They were very happy and I got hired. So my job with Scholastic, which is, now with Houghton Mifflin, and why I say that is because Houghton Mifflin bought one division that I was into their company. So my life as a consultant is, and I don't want to take too much longer because I want to get you guys into the workbook, was that we went out to districts and we facilitated training on their software program for reading. And so we were with the district. I was with a team of people, but sometimes you might be by yourself. And we taught them the program, and then we went inside the classroom and coached them. This was like teaching, but in a fun way. So every day your schedule is different. You might be going to a different classroom, to a different school, and you're going to need to make sure you have good transportation, be able to get on your cell phone, answer your emails every day, because, your teachers are contacting you. You have a different schedule. Get yourself a planner, all these things. It was fabulous. My first year of consulting, I was traveling. I traveled from Dallas to Tulsa. We stayed up there from Monday to Friday, and we came home on the weekend. Again, you don't have to do that with consulting. You can either be local or you can travel. And so I traveled from, Dallas to Tulsa, and we did our consulting there. And so after a while, I didn't want to travel anymore, and I came back to Dallas, and now I'm consulting locally. So what does that mean? I was with the team again. They give you a schedule. You plan out your schedule, and you know what classroom you're going to. So every day is flexible, so it gives excitement to the career. The other thing I want to talk about the career is that you need to have a personality and have thick skin, because every teacher may have some bad experiences. Not every teacher, but some teachers might have had a bad experience with coaches. And we're not the type of coaches that come in and evaluate with their partners. And you let them know that. And you come in with resources. You spend the day with them. You might spend a couple hours with them. You might come in during their PLC. And you're working with them and helping them, either working on the product, or you're doing classroom management. You might be working with students. You might be modeling instruction. You might meet with the principals to talk about how things are going, but you're not tattletelling. And I know I used the little word tattletelling, but you're not discussing, this teacher's having a hard problem. You just let them know we're working on these strategies, we're working on that. And that way, that you're building that partnership with that teacher. And you're going to find out that you are going to help that teacher grow. So consulting is coming in, supporting that school and whatever their agenda is, literacy, math, science, history, social studies, and being that partner to that school. So you probably ask now, well, Reba, how can I get prepared to be a consultant? Well, let's dig into that workbook and let's look at how you can get prepared. Hello, we're back, and now we're ready to get into that workbook. So as you can see on the cover, this is me and my contact information. Feel free to email me at any time. I check my email daily, mainly several times a day. And you can also connect with me on Twitter or on LinkedIn. Let's all of us connect and have that beautiful networking group of consultants out there making education so much better for everyone. Okay, so now let's dig into how you can get prepared to be that consultant. I know you're probably asking yourself, how can I get prepared for this transition? Well, I hope this worksheet right here in your book will help you categorize your work, and you will begin to notice that you are getting fully prepared for that transition. So in the very beginning, where it says become familiar with, some jobs do ask, what do you know about adult theory and learning theory? As I stated, I was never asked this question, but it's something that you can put in your toolbox just in case you get asked on the interview. On the next 2 pages, I give you an example of one adult theory and a learning theory that you can use, and you just develop a elevator speech when that question comes up. So you can check those two boxes off. The next thing is that you're going to start looking at the job searches. And I suggest that you start with 3 job searches and focus on those 3 companies, looking at all the things that are in the job description that closely match your skills, and then do a pro and cons comparison with those jobs, seeing what fits most with you and what things you don't like about the job. Then next, connecting with other mentors and networking with them on social media. I know people have a lot of negative connotations about social media, but if you stay really focused and choose those things that you're working on, you'll avoid all that negativity. Next is I'm going to talk to you about developing a presentation. Just in case you're at an interview and the interviewers ask you to show your work or ask you to bring something and present, you will already have that ready, and it will be something that you feel comfortable with, and you're very knowledgeable, and you will be a rock star. And then talking about updating your resume. We all have beautiful resumes. You're all doing the work, but the only difference is that it doesn't match the terminology that is used for the industry of consulting. You're doing the same work. You just got to change the wording. Okay? So let's talk about getting prepared, and let's look at some of those items. Here I provided you a quick infographic that you can use if you're approached by an interviewer and they're asking you, what do you know about adult learning? So basically, you can sit down and try to formulate yourself an elevator response. And what I mean by elevator, something really quick that you were on the elevator with someone, you're able to explain it to them that quick before they get off. And so basically what they want to know is that you understand that adults need to know why they're learning something and can they use it when they walk back into their classroom. Otherwise, they're not interested. So we need to know that adults need to be motivated when they come into workshops, knowing that it's going to have some type of meaning to their work. The next one is Gagne's 9 events of learning. I take this back and thinking about Madeline Hunter's 7 steps for lesson planning, and it's the same thing. It starts with gaining attention and so on and so forth. And again, they may ask you a question about what do you think is involved in adults learning? How would you scaffold that learning for them? Again, try to formulate yourself an elevator answer response for them again and explain that thinking. There's plenty of other adult theories, so you can find others that might better be a response for you, but I just provided you these 2 right here, and hopefully they're helpful. Here's another page in your workbook where you can start logging those valuable mentors that you're going to start meeting when you go into social media. So just try to list as many individuals or communities that you can that will mentor you. Believe me, they will all be valuable. They're on Twitter, like I said, on LinkedIn, online communities, and maybe even teachers that you work with or a teacher in a community. But again, get connected because they will definitely be valuable mentors to you. Well, let's go look at some job postings. But before we go, I want to let you know in your booklet, I have provided you 3 sheets where you can jot down all your notes for the jobs that you're researching. I suggest you start with 3 jobs so that way you can look at the qualifications and see how well they match with your skills. So here's job search number 1, job search number 2, and job search number 3. So let's head over to those postings and see what's out there. Before we look at a full job posting, I want you to look at a few snippets that I collected so you can see how the job postings are listed and the type of things that are on these websites. So here is our first one, which is from Pearson. It was posted on Indeed, and you can see that it has a very nice salary. However, if you look over at the title of the position, it's asking for a senior educational consultant. So they're looking with someone with some experience. Below it, it tells you the location of the job, which is in Dover, Delaware, but right below it, it says remote. So regardless of where you live, you can apply for this job. Now, sometimes the jobs will say remote, but make sure you look at it and see if it's going to be remote for the lifetime of the job, or is it going to change once we go back face to face. I also recommend looking down below at the reviews of people that have worked there, and they will give you a sense of what the job climate is like, the benefits, and how they felt about working there. So let's look at the next job posting. Curriculum Associates posts a lot on Indeed and Glassdoor. And if you look up here, they have positions in mostly all 50 states. So what you would do is go here, go to the drop down menu and see what type of consulting jobs they have for that state, because every state has different state standards and different requirements. So in Texas, they have the iReady program, the iReady program, and these are where they need support. They have assessment support that they need and instructional support that they need. All right. Here again is another Curriculum Associates job posting. This one is only looking for a part-time employee in Hawaii. It doesn't look like it's remote, but it has 8 locations in Hawaii that they're looking for support. Again, they're looking for someone that has knowledge of Common Core standards in math. So again, if this is your specialty, this will be the job for you. The next thing they want to know, do you have fluency with digital tools and online assessments? I think now with COVID, many teachers now than before are really familiar with that, because due to our current situation of virtual teaching and hybrid teaching. Here I mentioned that some jobs will ask you about adult learning. Again, I listed those 2 pages. There's lots of theories out there, but they will help you prepare for that, 1-minute elevator speech. So have it ready for when they ask you that question, you're ready to respond and respond fluently. Next, they want to know if you have excellent computer skills and internet skills and knowledge of Office programs, Outlook, Word, and PowerPoint. Again, I think everybody's there with virtual teaching. Also with online meeting with Zoom and WebEx. These are all things I think more people have become more accustomed to and fluent with. The ability to work independently. All teachers, we all work independently. And then we come together in an educational cohort. So right here is everything that you're doing as a teacher. Like I said, you're probably qualified for majority of these jobs. The next one is Scholastic. At this time, they have not posted any jobs, but when they do, they're going to post them on, they're going to look for support in their professional learning, and these are the categories. So again, think about that when you're preparing yourself on your resume and things that you're doing right now as you're beginning to transition. Think about these areas and how you could support teachers with these topics. Next is Innovative Designs for Education. They also post a lot in Indeed and Glassdoor. You can look at the salary here. It's pretty good. It's located in New York City Metro. You look over here where it talks about the position where it's located. It says remote, but then it says temporarily remote. So it probably means once we go back face to face that you will be back, in the office facing customers. Here's the company that I work for. Again, they have not posted any jobs at this time, but these are the categories where they need support. So again, I'm telling you, when you're looking at your skills, look at how can you support teachers and districts with these categories. Here, even the universities are looking for educational consultants, and you can have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree. You see that the salary probably matches that lower end, but you can see that there is room for growth. It might start with the master's degree in the beginning of the description, but if you go down further and you start looking at the description, the expanded description, it will start saying, or a bachelor's degree in the assigned disciplines. So always look all the way through the entire description when you're looking at jobs and they mention a master's degree. National Geographic. I had no idea until I got into consulting that National Geographic or Scholastic was looking for consultants. But can you imagine what this job would be like and how fun it could be? At this time, they have not posted a job listing, but it might be either in consulting setting up displays, or it could be working with teachers, or it could be in sales. So be very careful when you look at the job listing. Do you want to be a consultant that's selling and showing up at trade shows, or do you want to be a consultant that works with teachers, principals, and giving trainings in instructions? So again, these are just some of the snippets of job postings that I collected for you. So now let's go look at one real job posting in Indeed. So this is one of the jobs that I showed you earlier that's in the New York City metro area. So this is how it will appear on Indeed. So I'm going to scroll down to the, so we can get to the very top of the posting. So it will give you the salary. It will tell you that it's full-time. It'll talk about the experience that you need. Here, 5 years required. Some go as low as 2 years. Educational technology, all of you have done that. It's just the way you word it in your resume. It asks for a master's degree, driver's license, because many times you're driving from school site to school site or training center to training center. They want your teacher credential to be required. I'm going to also recommend that you keep your credential active. I am a teacher from California, and every 5 years we have to renew our credential. And so I make sure every year I set my calendar so that I make sure that I keep my credential active. They want you to speak English. And also here they're telling you what they want, the why, the what about the company, and the who. They talk about the minimum requirements here. And they just go over what the benefits are, what the schedule is like, talks about COVID. And it's just kind of repeating some of the things that they're saying. It is fully remote at this time. It doesn't say that whether or not it's going to change. 8 to 4 is your typical day when you're getting paid. It talks about the kind of people that they want. Again, these are key words to put inside your resume. It gives you the company website. I would suggest that you go there so that you understand who you're interacting with when you're in those interviews. And then it talks about benefit conditions, talking about a waiting period, and only full-time employees are eligible. And it says work remotely temporarily. Now, we saw remote at the top, but as we read the full description, temporarily due to COVID-19. So that might be real critical in you making the decision whether or not you want to work for this company. Now that you've had a chance to look at some job postings, and you'll continue to look at job postings, I'm hoping that this worksheet will help you review the pros and cons of each job that you're selecting and help you make the decision on whether or not you want to apply for the job. It might be a pro that the job offers medical benefits. It might be a con that the job requires a lot of traveling. So you're going to look at what are your negotiables and what are your non-negotiables when you're making that decision on which job you wish to apply for. Now that you got a chance to look at some job postings and you're looking at the pros and cons and still doing that work, at the same time, you can start creating a resource and be ready just in case that interviewer asks to see some of your work. You're doing the work already. You're making fantastic resources. Why not put them in your transition toolkit? Just in case they ask you at the interview or in an email, could you please send us some of your work? And just think about the things that you can create. Most of the jobs in consulting are using PowerPoint. So try to perfect that for one of your resources. You can make an infographic, a job aid, a video, software instruction, a classroom management resource, whatever you want to think of. But just choose some of your tools that you're very comfortable with and produce a resource and put it in your transitional toolkit. Still thinking about that resource that you're going to produce? Well, just choose one academic topic. Whatever your strong subject matter is, if it's reading, if it's math, if it's social studies, just choose it. Make sure you choose 3 objectives. If you want to just choose one, whatever it is, and write it down. And whatever you do when you have your development done, make sure that it's really clear in your product, that when the interviewer sees it, they can see the objectives very clearly and saying that you have definitely delivered that instruction. Now you've done your job search and now you're ready to submit a resume. But the first thing we have to do as teachers is that we need to tailor our resume to match the job description. So we are already doing all the things that the job is asking, but we need to change the wording. So instead of saying we made, we'll say we created, we developed. When we say and we're teaching students or we're teaching our coworkers, we're going to say we facilitated. You might have collected resources. So you're going to say, I developed and created a repository of resources. So when you start looking at the resumes that are in your resources at the end of this training, you can look at that wording and just change the terms, change the phrases. But you are definitely doing everything already to be a consultant. So you have submitted your resume and now you're thinking, oh, what if I get a position? What do I need to be an effective consultant? Well, here they are. You're going to need a laptop, a tablet, or an iPad because you're going to be responsible for delivering content. And if you're working with a company, as I do, they're going to give you the presentation, and therefore you're going to need to use that to deliver the content. You can modify it a little bit based on your teacher or the school district, but you're going to need a device to deliver that content. You're going to need reliable internet. Right now, a lot of us are working from home and we're delivering content across the internet. We also have to have online storage so that we can give the teachers content. We can give them a link. They can go and get a folder of all the things that they need. Also, with social distancing, a lot of paper is not involved anymore. If we go back to face-to-face, you're going to need a rolling laptop. If you're going to be a traveling consultant, you're definitely going to need that. You're going to need extra batteries because if you have that clicker, and so that you want to get close to your audience when you're walking around and clicking the different slides of your presentation, you're going to need extra batteries just in case you left your presentation clicker on. A reliable transportation. Again, if we become face-to-face, you might be going from school to school, district to district, or traveling to the next city. A notebook and a note app, very important to write those notes when you leave those meetings, because some jobs are going to require you to give a debriefing report about your meeting. I like note apps because I can dictate into them and just go ahead and come home and, write up my professional notes. A printer, if you want to print out reports and just because you want to look at it, highlight. If you have to analyze data and go back and operate utilizing that data. A cell phone, especially now with us working remotely, teachers may call and text you. They might want to change a meeting. You might need to meet with a teacher. You might want to send a message to them real quick. Something might have changed. Your cell phone is going to be a valuable device for you, reading your emails really quick. A wall calendar at your house. I have a wall calendar that has different color Post-its on it so I can tell which school I'm working with. I used to post it because things change all the time. The teacher might get sick or a district decided they forgot to tell you they had a staff development that day. Having a planner, I write in pencil. I choose an academic calendar, but you can choose whatever calendar you want that works best for you. Next, you need a flash drive, just in case you go to school with your device and they will only allow you to get onto the device that's already set up in their presentation room. You have your presentation on your flash drive, you just stick it in, you have your presentation clicker, and you're good to go. And the most important thing you want to bring is that big personality of yours and the biggest smile that you have. That sets the tone for any meeting and any interaction that you have with teachers, because sometimes they're just not in the mood. They had a hard day, especially now with our teachers working virtually and having hybrid classes. A lot of them are just really, really stressed out. Guess what? You're almost at the end of my session. But what I have here for you are some resources that I hope will assist you as you're on your quest to become a consultant. If you look at the first block, it's the Google Drive resources. I will be uploading things from time to time as I find them. If you keep this page, you'll always have access to these resources or bookmark it on your computer. There's also YouTube links there where I am posting some of the videos about consultant interview questions and answers. They are some terrific videos. I wish I would have had them when I was interviewing. On the LinkedIn one, you can also add other people, but I added myself, and best still, which I told you was my very first mentor and really helped me to get where I am today. And I'm so appreciative of her support. Consultants, here's a group called the Educators Room. There's a video of the owner of the company, and she gives a very candid presentation about using your teacher expertise to become a consultant. I did note here that some of her information is outdated regarding salaries. It is much higher, and plus the dress code that she mentions. Most school districts and companies do not require you to wear a suit to the school. They like you to look like the learning population and the learning community so that everyone feels comfortable in that space. The Education Element is a consultant that gives a video expose of her day working as an educational consultant. Go back to the left lower area. Twitter mentors, keep collecting those Twitter mentors and put them in here. I put myself is the first one. Matt Miller is an excellent one with Ditch That Textbook. He is a Spanish teacher / consultant. He is now doing trainings, and you can watch him and see that you can also do that same thing. He is valuable. He has so many resources. Also, Oprium, she was a kindergarten teacher. Oh, she had made kindergarten and first grade one of the most amazing grades. She is now an administrator and also has been a consultant and speaking at conferences. Online communities. Remember I told you how to join some communities? Here's a list of some that are really quick to join. SimpleK12.com trainers. I'm one of the trainers there. We give free webinars, but there's also a paid membership, but there are free webinars during the week and on Saturdays. Down below, you can click on that and see all the free webinars that they're having that are upcoming. Classroom 2.0 also has free webinars every Saturday. But what I want to mention about these online communities is that this is where I did my first presentation, and you can too, because sometimes they call for presenters. And so you might already have that resource ready, and you can just send it to them and they'll say, okay, that fits into one of our subject matters, and you'll be a presenter. And the special thing, they even give a stipend. The last one are the resume samples. We didn't get a chance to look at the resumes, but you can look at them. They'll be located in the Google Drive. I included Best Stills resume and mine. And so you can look at that wording and those phrases that you need to change to turn into a consultant type of resume. But you already are doing those jobs already. You're already doing those things. It's just those key words that need to be in that resume. I hope these resources are helpful, but if there's anything in there that you need, please email me and I'll try to locate it and upload it into your resources. Well, you are now at the end of my workshop, and I hope you can sit back and take a moment and think about what was the biggest takeaway for you in this session. And then, do you still have some questions? And if you do have those questions, please feel free to email me, because I'll be more than happy to answer you, or email your mentors, those ones that you're now going to be connecting over social media. But again, I hope that this has been helpful. I hope this is going to help you on your quest to becoming an educational consultant. Thank you for being at this session. I want to wish you the best of luck. You already have the talent, you already have the skills, and you will be that next educational consultant. So I'll talk to you soon, and bye-bye.